What's up, guys? Kelsey here from Off the Bench. We got a special midweek update here coming into week 6 next week. We did miss last Saturday's show, so we felt like let's do a midweek show. Let's get a little update here for what's going around the country, how we've reacted to the games that happened on Saturdays with the loss inside Sanford Stadium in Athens, Georgia, and of course the loss in Happy Valley that we saw unfold last Saturday. I got Pops over here sitting to my left.
What's going on, guys?
We're ready to talk some football.
All right, let's talk football, Kelsey.
This afternoon. We just kind of, midweek, and it's kind of completely, we're just trying to get caught back up. We had to take the day off on Saturday. It was out of our control. We had some station issues, stuff like that. But I think we've got it all back up working at the station. We've had a lot of audio issues here today, so we've been trying to correct that before we go live. So we're just happy having some fun here and see kind of what went down in the firings we saw over the week. And of course, Sam Pittman being let go and Gundy last week. We still haven't had the opportunity to talk about that.
I mean, could you ask for a better game between Bama and Georgia? And then at the same time, these networks schedule these big games. We get Penn State and oh my gosh, I just went blank. We get Penn State
live here on YouTube.
Yeah, glad we're on YouTube.
Live here on YouTube, we're getting a phone call.
Yeah, we get Penn State and Oregon going to double overtime. I know we were up in Kentucky watching that football game, visiting family and friends, and we had two TVs going, one with the Bama and Georgia game, of course, and the other with the Oregon and Penn State game, and they're whiteout. I mean, both great football games. You couldn't ask for anything more.
Yeah, I was disappointed that we had them at the same time. I would have actually been happy with Alabama being flexed to 2:30, but how network issues are, that whiteout is an issue because they have to have that as a night game. Big Ten can't control that in the morning, so they can't put it on big noon kickoff, which I expected until we heard the official whiteout announcement, which you can only do once a year. So you had to back those games up right there. And with Georgia's home winning streak on the line against a top 10 team, how do you flex that to 2:30?
Yeah, speaking of Georgia's home winning streak, what's that song we like to play?
29 straight wins, back-to-back national champions. What's that coming down the track? It's the mean machine in the red and black. Ain't nothing finer in the land. Got me drunk, obnoxious Georgia fan. Go Goats, go Goats. Wow. Give me Alabama to break.
Does that get old?
I don't think it gets old.
I mean, I know that like Pat McAfee jumping off that diving board last weekend or whenever that was.
2 weekends ago now.
2 weekends ago. That's pretty awesome. But I'll tell you, that game right there, and even this last weekend game, that never gets old.
It does.
As an Alabama fan.
Now, so we're also sitting here saying that 33-1 for Georgia at home now.
Yeah.
They don't have the undefeated streak anymore, and that was a whole big thing in the game. I remember we were celebrating right as when Ty Simpson started to take a kneel down after they got the first down late in the game. And the first thing I had said was, there goes the home winning streak.
Yeah, that's it. That home winning streak, Georgia's very proud of it. Georgia fans are very proud of it.
And that's a point I want to hit on too. There is, let's say, the 5% of Georgia fans who I don't think know how to take a home loss anymore. And I've seen it on social media. And yeah, it's 95% of the fans are okay. It's not them, but the 5% that are speaking the loudest right now because they have a controversial issue on their hands of, Georgia didn't lose that ball game. Georgia beat themselves in that ball game. Alabama didn't win that ball game. Georgia beat themselves in that ball game. And the way I'm phrasing it, I'm probably
not a drop pass. So we're going to count a drop pass.
Ryan Williams had the drop pass. Zachariah Branch had the drop pass, right? Both teams went for 4th down, different points of the game.
Yeah.
A lot of Alabama's issues came early in that ball game. Now in the second half, Alabama didn't score, if I remember right. I think they got shut out in the second half, right? And there were points in that game where they could have. I know Bama shanked a field goal in that game too.
Right off the bat. First drive of the second half.
Salty didn't he? Yeah, he shanked the field goal. So Bama had their issues. Georgia had their issues, and Georgia couldn't overcome it. I mean, you had the opportunity late in the game with the drop pass of Zachariah Branch. Okay, that would have you would have put that leg up against Ryan Williams' drop pass. They both had these issues, but the problem was Georgia had these issues really early. And the way I want to compare it, it's like a V6 Mustang going up against an LS swap Mustang. The V6 guy's got a lot of bite to him, right?
Yep.
And he's talking all this crap and he's going through it. And then this guy that pulls up with the LS swap goes up and they're trying to drag race. And the LS swap just goes, okay. And the VC6 Mustang is still having these issues. He's still talking back and forth, giving him smack talk. And that's kind of how I perceive this whole thing from Georgia fans, from that 5%.
Well, I mean, it's just Georgia fans being Georgia fans, man. We've been there. Alabama fans have been on the wrong side of some tough losses. That Georgia national championship game 2 years ago when we had our top two receivers out of the ball game, if you remember right. It was Williamson and Mechie.
Yeah.
Mechie put up 200 yards in the semifinal game in the first half before he got hurt. And so, when you're missing players, so we've been on that side.
Mm-hmm.
But I will tell you, I've watched so many YouTube videos and so many videos all this week about Georgia fans absolutely losing their mind. And I think there's this one run with Ty Simpson, like going up through the line, and he gets like a 20-yard run. And this is like it's maybe in like the first drive of the game. And there's a hold. There is no question. There's a hold on the right side of the line. It's probably a Formby holding a guy.
Let's give you a point. Formby has actually played really well the last 2 weeks. Yeah,
but I will tell you what, if you were to slow down every play on any given Saturday or Sunday, okay, you are going to see a hold.
It's oldest saying in the book right there.
I mean,
it's true though.
You're going to see a hold. You're going to see linemen grabbing defensive players. You're going to see hands to the face on defensive guys trying to get up underneath the face mask of the offensive lineman. So, all of this whining, okay, all right, it is what it is. But you know what? It counts in the end. Alabama got a W.
So let's bring on it about this way. So now we're looking at this one loss that Georgia has. So we're looking at what's the problems that Georgia had ensued on this game. So I think Georgia's still a good team. I think Gunnar Stockton still played good. There's issues that arose in this game specifically. I mean, you still had a good running game in this game. You had the formula with this game. Kirby doesn't just have a Nick Saban problem anymore. This is turning into a straight up Alabama problem. He cannot win these games. And it's not like they're blowouts. No, they're not blowouts. They're close games. Kirby can't find that extra edge. And I'll give it to Bama. The offensive staff has done great without a running game because the running game has been stagnant all year. They have not been able to get it going. We thought with Jam Miller, hey, it'll get going. It hadn't got going yet. Jam hasn't really put that forth. And granted, you're playing a very good Georgia defense. Okay. And Alabama's offensive line held up a lot. Okay. We asked them to do so much this last Saturday and they prevailed. They gave Ty Simpson the time in the pocket and he was still able to get that pass off. And if Ty Simpson's going to get that pass off, there's a reason he's still in the Heisman standing now.
And anytime you get a quarterback goes 24 for 38 with 276, that's telling you something. Okay. Did they have a sack? I don't remember. I don't have that stat.
I don't have that stat in front of me either.
But I think the big crucial piece of this, and we're talking about the offensive line holding up for Alabama, and the stat that I keep seeing on what they did on third down. Okay,
the third down ratio is insane. That's the big paper popper stat of this whole ball game. 13 and 19 for Bama, 2 for 8 for Georgia.
And really another different stat. You want to talk about stats?
Mm-hmm.
How many turnovers for Bama?
Bama didn't have 0, and they haven't had any all year. Okay, that's a big prevail for Bama.
Georgia had that turnover.
They
in the first half.
They had that fumble.
Which put Alabama in great field position to score again real quick.
Look, I mean, we can keep going through this game and thinking about it as playing devil's advocate as Georgia fans. What could they have done different? What's going on here? Obviously, there's different stuff that they could have done in this game. They needed that catch from Zachariah Branch late.
I mean, but look at
but Bama was still driving on that last play of the game.
Yeah, I mean, you take that catch, okay? I think the real key differentiator in this game, and you can say all you want about Bama's run defense, okay? I think I saw a stat yesterday where they were like ranked 90th in the country on run defense and like 8th in the country on pass. Okay, so you know, that 4th and 1 play where Georgia at the end of the game, Georgia hurried up. I think is it maybe the first series of the 4th quarter. Georgia hurried up. They got up there. They didn't get it on 3rd. It was 4th and 1. And if you heard Kirby talk about it in his press conference after the game, he said, you know, we've run that play a million times to that running back, to that player, and Bama's defense stepped up. That run defense stepped up, and you got to give all the credit to the world for the Alabama young men to step up in that point in the game where the game was on the line. If they would have scored a touchdown right there, they would have gone up, and Bama would have been playing from behind.
You're right. I mean, and Bama really took the edge forward from that moment, that ball game. So the thing around the country that now we got to formulate, because Florida State on Friday took the loss against Virginia. Nobody really expected that. Virginia's got a good ball team that really nobody really thought about until that win and that crazy field storming action that we saw on Friday night. We'll hit on that topic later because that field storming was insane. But now last week we were talking about at this time, you know, the first thing we're going to think about Alabama when they're brought up throughout the rest of this year, we were talking about that Florida State loss. Now, moving forward, they're thinking Alabama, they're going to think about that Georgia win in Athens. The problem was Florida State now lost.
Yep.
So what's the first thing you're thinking about Bama now? What's the first thing that comes to mind? Because that's the same thing that's going to come to mind with the College Football Playoff Committee.
It's still that win over Georgia. I mean, the polls are already showing it. Bama's in front of Florida State in a couple of different polls. Yeah. I think the playoff, whatever poll that is right now, Florida
CFP.
State's still in front of Bama. That's just because of the head-to-head win.
Yeah.
But when it comes to ranking, I mean, it's you know, Bama is going to be judged, okay, by that Georgia win. Now let's think about what happened this time last year. Okay. We were on a high life. Okay. We beat Georgia at home. We're the number 1 team in the country. We go into Vanderbilt.
Ingested the rat poison.
Okay. And I was at that game. I was in Vandy.
I stuck back at home base for that one.
In the stands, sitting next to the students to our left, and every Bama fan in that stadium was in complete shock. Okay. And so you can't have an instant repeat. I think from what I've seen of the practice feeds and listening to the different folks that we listen to during the week to sit there and talk about what's going on in practice, Bama looks like they're locked in. Will Vanderbilt be able to get some running yards on them? Yes. But I tell you what, I think that defense is going to step up. I think you're going to see a very locked in Ty Simpson, really, really locked in Ty Simpson, pass down the field. You're not going to see Williams drop the pass this time. Okay, play action pass right off the bat. That fake run to Jen Miller. Ty rolls to the right and throws a deep one to Williams down, you know, in the end zone. And Bryant Denny, and we get up top real quick against Vandy. All right. I know I digressed right there. I went in a totally different direction, but I'm sitting there thinking about the great game that's coming up this weekend and where game day is going to be this weekend.
That's true. They pulled up from Florida State after the loss on Friday night, announced it was going to be in Tuscaloosa. So moving into that game, okay, what I have said throughout the year was Vanderbilt has this notion from last year that Pavia was pulling that team along. He was dragging that team along. He was carrying them, is a better word for it. Now, Vanderbilt's built up this offensive line. I've heard Cole Kublik say it a couple times that this offensive line now for Vanderbilt, they're big boys. He has never seen boys as big as that at Vanderbilt, okay, in the offensive line. So with Pavia actually leading this team now is the new notion for this. If Pavia is leading a Clark Lea team and possibly his last year, you know, he's finally going to Tuscaloosa, okay, specifically Pavia. Pavia's had some comments this week to say about that. Pavia's comments were pretty much,
let's go have fun.
Let's go have fun in Tuscaloosa, right? You know, you can take that one or two ways. Okay, he's being a lighthearted quarterback about this. You know, he's taking a completely different stance than Tommy Castellanos, right?
Yeah.
Or he's sitting there kind of undermining Bama. So will those comments be addressed too? I mean, we heard that through media days, and then Castellanos completely came in and destroyed Bama. Well, didn't come in. We came to their house in Doak Campbell, and they beat us up.
Well, I mean, it's been one of those. Anytime you get to talk a little smack against Bama in the media, look what Johnny Football did this week. He said nobody fears Bama anymore. If you don't think that those Vanderbilt players, there's not a little fear in them, come on. You're walking into Bryant-Denny, 105,000 people in the stands, game day, okay? Sure, it's an opportunity, but if you don't think there's a little bit of nervousness in their blood right there, come on. 2:30 ball game day, you're getting to see all these the fans in the stands. It will be crimson red on Saturday, and it'll be a good ball game.
I mean, I think you'll see Vandy fans travel from Nashville, but you're going to see a very heavy red stadium.
Yep. I just want to hear Rammer Jammer playing at the end of the game. It's all I care about.
I loved it when we heard it in Sanford Stadium last week. That was a big one. That was
the timing of that.
It was cool. I checked out. I was going to bed.
ESPN was interviewing Coach DeBoer, and you could hear it in the background.
That's awesome. That's sweet.
That was me and your uncle were sitting there talking about that. Speaking of Pavia, you look at what he's doing right now and his overall QBR.
Yeah.
I mean, he's actually higher than Simpson. Okay. Well, I think a lot of that has to do with his rushing yards. I mean, he got 294 yards, almost 300 yards in 5 games. Yeah. Okay. And I remember sitting in that game last year, and man, they kept running that dang RPO.
Yeah.
And that play to the damn tight end, I can't say defend it. That is a very hard play to defend. It looks like a run when you're playing defense. All of a sudden, a guy scrambles out. It can be a pass. It can be a run. It can be thrown downfield. It can be thrown to the tight end. It can be thrown to the receiver or the running back in the flat. So Bama's got its work cut out. There's no question about it. I'm not saying it's going to be an easy game, but I do think that the Bama players recognize the importance. They want to get Vanderbilt behind them from last year. Okay. And it's just the next step and murderer's row schedule, if you want to call it that. I mean, we got both Tennessee teams in less than a couple of weeks. With Tennessee, who's between Vandy and Tennessee? There's a game between it. Is it Missouri at Missouri? Come on. That's not getting any easier.
No.
Yeah. So, all right.
Well, okay, so let's hit on one more thing before we lead out of what transpired in Athens this last weekend. Caden Proctor.
Oh,
let's put him at running back. I think I'm all for him. A 370-pound running back in the backfield.
I was watching an interview with Ty Simpson today, and
he wants to throw the ball now.
Yeah, the reporter was talking, and Ty had to remind Proctor that, hey, he's the quarterback. Proctor wants to throw a touchdown now. But come on, was there anything more exciting in that game? It
was the biggest surprise. I mean, you heard the announcement from I think it was Reese and Kirk on the call, right? And they're like, "Oh my gosh, what just transpired here?" It was amazing.
I mean, look at the just think about the reaction in the huddle when Simpson's like he calls that play.
Oh, Caden's jittery. He's what,
man? I mean,
right?
His hands are numb. His hands are sweating
because he hasn't gotten this opportunity yet.
He's used to being in a 3-point stance. Now all of a sudden he's got to catch a football.
Well, and when that had happened,
college level quarterback,
exactly. And when that had happened we saw him line up on the outside, and we're like, okay, what's going on with Proctor in this moment? Then Ty throws it to Proctor. Proctor's running full speed. The only guy that can tackle him was the safety, who we kind of feel bad about, right?
The
safety kind of came up and he kind of fell over, right? And when
the picture on the screen, you can see the safety land on the ground there.
Yeah, if you look on the screen right there. See, but what had happened was, and Caden kind of pops up. He's like, "Did I score? Was I in?" And he was like at the half-yard line.
He didn't realize he stepped out of bounds. Yeah.
So this game was excellent, great game. I would give it a 9 out of 10 on any scale. Right?
Oh,
I was missing that one play, that we had last year with the Ryan Williams catch. That kind of accelerated that game on what that game actually meant. It was Kalen DeBoer's first time, playing in Georgia in the Alabama jersey, right? So, or in the Alabama, whatever. He didn't wear polo no more.
After that Florida State loss, it's like, my gosh, man, you take the record in Bama in the last 10 games and it was like 5-5 and we're playing 500 ball. Say what you want to say about Coach DeBoer, okay? He's beaten Georgia twice.
He has.
He's 2-0 in big games.
Huge
Okay,
games.
Obviously the game.
Well, he
year
lost the
before
bowl
last,
to who did he lose the bowl to last year? Was that
Michigan.
Was that Michigan last year?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I couldn't remember if it was
But
last year or
to
the year before that was
be
said.
Kirby Smart and the rivalry with Georgia and Alabama, that's saying something. If there's 2 wins as an Alabama fan, I want to see any given Saturday, it's going to be Georgia and it's going to be against Auburn.
Yeah.
Right. And then you could throw Tennessee in there and LSU and all those games like that, and we'll get to those protected rivalry games a little bit later. Unfortunately, we're not going to get to LSU, but that's all good. But that those 2 wins. I mean, I saw a graphic of Nick Saban or DeBoer carrying Kirby this week in a wrapped in a you got to love AI what people do with
true,
it.
yeah.
But DeBoer's 2-0 against him, and it's right now. Can you make the argument that Kirby's the best coach in college football right now?
DeBoer, you mean? You said Kirby?
Well, no, but Kirby is the best coach in college football.
100%.
Right now.
Well, okay, so I mean,
Sarkisian, Kirby.
Yeah, but I mean, you could sit there and say Ryan Day with the
Ryan
success he's
Day
seen last year, right? And we're also talking about guys. We could sit there and say Lanning's the best coach in college football, right? A lot of the guys are gone now, right? I mean,
we're in
Kirby this weird position.
When you take Kirby Smart, if you say who's the best coach in college football, I'm going to say Kirby Smart probably 9 out of 10 times, and then you start bringing up other names. You're like, oh yeah, forgot that guy.
Yeah, right.
I'll throw Dabo in there.
Well, Dabo's
having
having his issues this year, and we call it an off year, but I don't see a recovery coming anytime soon. Okay, and the problem I have with the recovery that we're not seeing the end of the light really for Dabo, because he has built this team. He's got multi-year coordinators under his belt with Riley, and then the offensive coordinator is Riley, and then you have of course Cade Klubnik, who's also a multi-year quarterback. So you've taken this formula of, okay, we've had these guys for multiple years now. We should be successful. Okay, they lost talent, last year, but they've rebuilt that talent through the portal and through, 4 and 5-star draft classes, right?
Yep.
This team shouldn't be as bad as it is over there in Clemson. So I don't know where you're finding the end of the tunnel, the end of the light at the end of the tunnel with Dabo here. I'm not saying they're going to fire him. I'm not saying that at all. They're not going to fire Dabo. He's had too much success there at Clemson. Okay. They're not going to pull a Gundy. They will not pull a Gundy because Gundy was given the opportunity to retire. Supposedly, this has kind of been proven. They said this is not an actual official report. But what it was said was they gave Gundy the opportunity to retire and finish out the season, or you take the buyout and you're fired right now. But what's Gundy going to do? Gundy wants the buyout. He doesn't wait till the end and get the retirement money, right? I mean, so. I just don't see the light at the end of the tunnel for Dabo, but Kirby right now, Kirby is 107-13 versus everybody else and 1-6 against Alabama.
Yep. Love it.
That's actually 1-7 now. This is from Thursday. This is from last Thursday where I got the graphic from. All
right, Kels, where are you going next, man? Where are we going?
All right. So real quickly, this is a little different show here right now.
Yeah,
of course, we're on YouTube right now. We're used to being live on radio.
Radio breaks. Yeah.
We don't have radio breaks right now. So this is going to get used to with the transitions and stuff like that. It takes practice and all that stuff. Okay. So Oregon, Penn State, what transpired in Happy Valley? Yeah. This was a very, very close game.
I don't have a graphic for these guys.
You didn't pull the graphic on this?
How did I not pull a graphic?
So this got skipped.
Sorry.
But
good.
We won't be on this topic for that long, but Dante Moore had his coming out party for his Heisman campaign in this game. He put up some stats, 29 of 39, 248 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
He completely outplayed Drew Aller. Of course, this game was back and forth, went into double overtime. Devontae Ross, they hooked up in the fourth, answering that touchdown. That was really the only connection Drew Aller had throughout the game. Creetron Allen, 54 yards. This game was completely overmatched Oregon. If this is a stat, I would have told you what happened if we were talking about this game Friday night. And I would have said, Oregon's going to have 424 yards. Penn State's going to have 276. I think that's the game right there. I mean, obviously, the whole thing on paper, and you don't actually watch the game, but that is rough to turn off of. You have that many yards, control the time of possession even further, almost 34 minutes of time of possession, while Penn State's down at 26.
Well, when you go into the fourth quarter and you're down by 2 touchdowns,
Yeah.
you got to give a little bit to Penn State there. I mean, they were down 17-3 going in the fourth quarter, and look what they were able to do at home.
And this wasn't a bad game from Penn State at all.
No.
You're going to hear the whole James Franklin cannot win the big game after this game for weeks, right? And maybe this is a turning point we're going to see for the future for Penn State. But right now, Penn State's had these issues for years where they can't win this, quote, big game. This was their whiteout game, which Saban called out the other day and said it's not that hard. I did it a couple of years ago, and it wasn't that hard to go into Happy Valley and a whiteout and win. But James Franklin still can't win the big one. And I just said, that's what we're going to hear, but that's truly what we're going to hear from this game. When we're going later into the season, I just don't know if, we're going to look back on this game. Oregon hasn't played any big opponents up until this point. And then they go in here and play like that on the road, probably one of the most toughest places to play, in the country. Also,
Especially on
Beaver
the whiteout.
Stadium, 111,000 people. That was the second highest turnout in history for them.
Well, one thing I do look at Penn State, though, I mean, you talk about the power of a loss and what a loss does for momentum, right?
Yeah.
And Penn State was riding it high. There were people giving it first place votes for its rankings. The voters, they saw a number one team. There were votes last week for Penn State for the number one ranking. Okay. And then you go and you look at the output of the game. They lose a game in double overtime, and they were almost on the outside looking in when it comes to the playoff. And it's like, okay. And then you look at the rest of their schedule and what they've got. The next big game that Penn State will play, I guess you would say it's November 1st, Penn State and Ohio State.
Yeah.
Then they get to play. They're going to play Indiana. I still don't know what to think about Indiana.
And I don't either, especially after they absolutely killed Illinois. And then Illinois goes on the road in Southern California and beats USC in a close game, nevertheless. But I'm with you. I don't know how to feel about how Indiana is. I would love it if they played an SEC school. We'd actually get the formula of what we're going to see for them, because they're going to be going straight into the playoffs. And I said last week, I don't think the Big Ten's as good as we think it is.
So, I mean, when you look at go back to Penn State. So you got the Ohio State game left. You got the Indiana game left. And then I'm not going to say it's nobody's schools, but they're playing Rutgers. They're playing Nebraska. You never know what you're going to get with Nebraska. Iowa at Iowa. Okay.
Parents.
But after that, let's say they go 1-2 at those ranked games in the end of season with 2 losses. Does a 2-loss Penn State game get into the playoff?
I think it has a lot of dependency on what Notre Dame's going to do as well. I mean, I'm kind of looking at Notre Dame right now. Is Notre Dame going to make the playoffs with the 2 losses they had? Now, granted, they were good losses. I mean, they were close games, but as an independent school, they're in a completely weird situation.
My opinion on Notre Dame. They can lose all their games, but you're right. There's going to be just the way this is all playing out. Yeah. There's a big game. There's big name teams with losses. You look at Texas.
There is so many.
Look at that Texas Ohio State game. They lose by a touchdown, but Texas offense. I mean, I'm just going to say it. The Superman's not Superman right now.
I mean, Arch Manning hasn't been able to do. I mean, he's trying to get to that point, and he had a better game the last time out.
Yeah,
but he's still not to the point where we expected to see him in the Heisman race. And the Heisman race is completely shaken up now, right? I mean, John Mateer was in that race, and John Mateer, we just haven't really seen what we want to see from Mateer, and now he's got a hand injury. He's going to be out for weeks, right? So we're going through this, and the whole argument right now is Big Ten better than an SEC right now, because the SEC is completely beating up on each other. That's not happening with the Big Ten. So my argument with the Big Ten and the SEC right now is the Big Ten should not get as many spots in as they think they're going to, right? They're looking at 4 for them, right? Same with the SEC, the 4, that's what we're expected. But the problem with the SEC is you can have Georgia, you could have Tennessee, you could have Alabama. Look at Missouri right now. You could still have Missouri. Mississippi State is playing strong right now. Yeah. Auburn's a little bit out of that after the loss from Texas A&M. Tennessee. A&M's in that bubble, right? There's so many teams. You go down this
A&M's
list.
undefeated. They're not in a bubble.
No, I'm just saying in this whole thing, right? So we can move further and further and further down this list. Vanderbilt's on the list too. They're in the bubble, right? So
Vanderbilt's undefeated.
Vanderbilt's undefeated, right? Okay, so we're going through this, and there's just teams you can list and list and list off the SEC that we're looking towards, and like, how are they? We're only expected to have 4 spots in this. We're looking at the 2 people that are in the conference championship and then 2 more teams in the bubble. I just don't think there's not going to be enough room for the SEC.
Somebody gets their heart broken, but when you got a team like Penn State, I'm going to guess right now they got 2 losses at the end of the year. That's how this conversation started. Does Penn State make it with 2 losses against an SEC team that I'm making this up? Let's say I'm knock on wood. Let's say it's Bama that has 3 losses, and they're played Georgia. They're going to play Tennessee. They're going to play LSU. Who else? They're going to play Vandy. Okay. You're going to play Missouri at Missouri. Okay. These are all Missouri's undefeated, I think, right now. Vanderbilt's undefeated right now. Texas. Well, we don't play Texas A&M, but you see my point there. We have of all the games left on the schedule, Bama has 1 or 2 teams that are not ranked right now.
I think it's one thing,
and that includes Auburn.
It's Auburn. I think it's just Auburn. They're the only unranked team.
Yeah.
I think that's
no. You've got that like we're playing. Texas
of course you have. Yeah, you have the small game at the end of the year.
Yeah, right before the Auburn game.
You're right. Yes. So we can keep going down this list, and you can say the same thing about Mississippi State. We're going to have teams that are sitting on the bubble at the end of the season. We're going to feel had the better, really would be the better option to put them in, and we really don't know how we've seen this extensive list on how the College Football Playoff Committee is going to rank these games and how they're going to weigh everything, but we won't really see it because we haven't seen it with this new, I forget the actual name for it, but the strength of schedule meter that they're using and stuff like that, right? So, it's going to be rough towards the end of the season. Because
let's okay, we automatically bring compare the the Big Ten and the SEC,
right?
What about the Big Ten and the ACC?
Well, I don't think they're far that low. The ACC it's hard to say they're playing better than last year, but, we haven't seen Florida State's obviously in it this year. Virginia, we're still kind of teetering on what they're going to look like for the rest of the year. Clemson's essentially out of it, right? So Syracuse with the injury to Signetti, coach of Oklahoma. I'm going blank on Syracuse's quarterback's name, but he's injured. He's done for the year. He's got a torn ACL. I don't know what you're looking for from the ACC. Maybe 2 teams.
All right. So I asked that question, and I'm sitting there thinking about that Florida State game, of course, with Bama. And if you look at ACC and their non-conference games, 22-10, but just 3-9 against Power 4 opponents. And then in Big Ten, in contrast, right?
Yeah.
31-5 overall non-conference and 5-3 versus the Power 4. So I think that kind of answers the question. I don't think you can compare the 2 conferences right now. As you get deeper into the
100%,
the schedule, let's ask this question 3 weeks from now when you're over halfway through the season, and you'll see what it looks like then.
Right. All right, so guys, we got a little bit to go over here real quickly because there's a big event coming up that we're going to be a part of, and we hope for you guys to be a part of too as well. So we're proud to share an important event with you happening soon. It's going to be the Kick It for Dana charity kickball tournament. This event is going to be dedicated to supporting Dana as she bravely is fighting stage 4
Stage 4 breast cancer.
It's stage 4 breast cancer. As I struggle with words on how to say them. So mark your calendar, Saturday, November 1st. Not only will this be a great day for the event, but it will also be with us as we'll be there live from 9 to 11. So you can come hang out with us and support this while it happens. Even better, Mojo from WZYP will be a part of this as well. He'll be co-hosting with me that day. So you'll definitely want to be there. If you want to go check this event out on Facebook, you can do so. Just go check out the Off the Bench Facebook page. It's right there. It's pinned right to the top. So check this out. You can also go visit the GoFundMe if you'd like to as well. Any way you'd like to support this. If you want to sign a team up or just you as an individual self, you can do so. It's $20 a person. I think it's $300 a team. Somewhere in that ballpark.
It's a big kickball team.
It is a big kickball team. But you can go do that, register as a team captain. If you've got a bunch of people, family that want to come support, just come on down. If you just want to watch the event, even more fun.
So let me get this straight, Kel. So we got a kickball tournament, raising charity for Dana, raising money for her fight against breast cancer.
Yes.
Okay. And then you're going to be live with your radio show, which is Off the Bench on 103.9. And Mojo from 104.3 CYP is going to be co-hosting with you. It's going to be here in Huntsville at the
Kiwanis Soccer Field over on Patton Road.
Awesome.
Yep. So right next to the Botanical Garden. It's going to be a fun time. We're just going to hang out, support this while it happens, and hope that just a little bit of, what we can put into this will help Dana with her recovery from the stage 4 breast cancer. So,
man, I'm so used to going on a break.
I am too. It's different.
And guys, on his normal radio show, I'm traditionally in the background feeding stats.
So Pops is he feeds stats over here. Had to cut off my word Dad doesn't like.
Yeah, I don't like being called stat boy. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm a 52-year-old man. I don't need to be called a boy.
All right, stat man over here. He's usually camera guy as well, but we got Ghostly over here going on the camera here. So yeah, we're just a little bit of a different setting today. We don't know if we're going to make Wednesday normal yet, maybe for just a singular YouTube show, just not going through the radio station. But we're just kind of hanging out, talking some ball on a fine Wednesday night. We're getting ready for Thursday Night Football tomorrow in the NFL. As well as we're just kind of waiting for that Saturday morning to kick above. We caught the itch tonight. We couldn't do the show last weekend, so we decided, why not? We'll just do it tonight. So as we move on through this treacherous show that I don't know how to do, a transition from the Heisman race is shaking up. And the whole thing with the Heisman race that I'm struggling. Oh, did I go too fast for you, Dad? Did I skip something for you?
We're gonna get there. Is this the Heisman?
I think I went out of order for Pops over here, and he couldn't figure it out here.
Are we good?
Yes, I'm looking at the Heisman race now. You all can all see the Heisman race as well on how this is shaping up. Ty Simpson, the performance against Georgia, I think we all expected it. It boosted him up there. 1,138 yards, 11 touchdowns. Still no turnovers for Ty Simpson or the rest of the Alabama football team this year. Dante Moore kicked off his Heisman campaign against Penn State in Happy Valley. 1,200 yards, 14 touchdowns, and 1 interception for him. Jeremiah Smith, Carson Beck, and Fernando Mendoza right below him is following this. If I had to put my bet on it right now, I think we're going to see another wide receiver Heisman candidate or Heisman victor, as I would say it. I think Jeremiah Smith's really going to boost his resume toward the end of the year, and he's really going to have a good year.
I don't know. It all depends. I mean, I'd love to sit there and say as long as Ty doesn't throw an interception, he's got it wrapped up. But it's going to take wins, okay? A true Heisman candidate will take his team to victories, right? So if you think about this, I look at this list right here, and I'm thinking, who's going to win the ball games? Carson Beck.
I get that, but at the same time, we have not seen a Heisman moment yet. I don't think from any of these guys yet. I don't think we have come to that point. I don't think Ty's had it. I don't think Dante Moore's had it. Carson Beck has definitely not had it yet. Fernando Mendoza hasn't had it either. Jeremiah Smith, I think we saw these plays from him last year. It was just a tighter race for the Heisman last year. I think Jeremiah Smith's really going to prevail, and he'll have that Heisman moment. He's going to get up there. He'll get 1,200 yards this year. He'll keep piling up those touchdowns. He's a one-on-one dog. He's going to keep getting this done. So if I had to put my bet in it, Jeremiah Smith would get this Heisman. When we're in week 6, right? I mean, we truly don't know the outcome yet. We could have a guy boost up here with Mateer out of here now. I mean, we could have Arch to see the rest of his season go bazooka Superman, right? Trinidad Shameless, not too far behind him. Ole Miss, of course, the Ole Miss LSU game that was really a movie made for TV, right? With everything that went down. If you heard what Lane Kiffin was talking about, I think he was talking about that with Reese Davis just a couple of days ago on everything that transpired in that game with Whit Weeks and how it all unfolded and the injury that he had, the throwing up on the field. But when I get back to that, Trinidad Shameless is kind of taking this thing whole control over there in Oxford, right? I mean, This guy was a FCS starting quarterback. He was recruited by Kiffin. Nobody really knew who he was. Well, he had won a Heisman at the FCS level. He had won a national championship at the FCS level. So Kiffin goes, okay, we'll take you, right? So Kiffin's sitting there, okay, you're just going to place him as your backup. Well, then Austin Simmons gets hurt. Well, now you get a slot in Trinidad Chambers.
Yep.
He has surprised everybody in the country. You know, this is a guy that was just going to be kind of harbored by Kiffin. Kiffin wanted to hide this guy, and then he had to start him, right?
You know, that's another team, you know, when we were talking about
Ole Miss. We didn't even mention
didn't
Ole Miss when we were
mention
going
Ole
through
Miss.
that list. Ole Miss has very strong. They just beat LSU,
Yep.
right? We didn't mention LSU. LSU's got issues. The defense looks good. You're still having offensive issues. You can't run the ball, and that's the biggest issue right now.
You can't run the ball, you can't pass the ball.
You know, Alabama can't run the ball, but
We can pass it. We
can
throw the ball
pass it.
downfield.
This offensive coordinator, Ryan Grubb, and his whole staff on the offensive side has really figured out how to work with this without a run game. LSU can't seem to figure that out. So a lot of issues over there. I think Trinidad Chambers is going to jump in this soon on the top 5 race for the Heisman, but we're really kind of narrowing our stretch down the lane for this, but we're still having, we're still in this issue. We don't know who the clear guy is.
Is Pavio still in this list?
Pavia is. He's down a little further. He's sticking with Trinidad Chambers.
Well, I think when people look at these lists and they see these big names and they see these odds, and you look at the teams that are on here: Oregon, Alabama, Ohio State, Miami, Indiana would be my surprise here. Again, I do not know what to do with this Indiana team.
I don't either, and that's the biggest issue.
I talked a lot of smack about them last year. I didn't think they deserved to be where they were, but here we are 2 years in a row. And this Indiana team, that's
Coach Signetti.
And an old Alabama protege.
Well, he's been around the country a long time.
But
Signetti's an older guy.
Is he a Saban protege?
I
thought he was.
I'm not 100% if Signetti is or not, but I know he's been around the country a long time. This is one of these older guys that eventually got their job, right? Signetti was with James Madison a couple of years ago.
Oh, yeah.
When they went on their undefeated run, and then he got brought over here, brought all those players from James Madison to Indiana.
Yep. And
we're kind of seeing the product of a James Madison looking in the Big Ten, right? Signetti's hard to grade. So is his whole team. I don't know where Indiana sits yet. We still haven't seen that.
Well, you remember a couple of years ago when you had Indiana, you had other teams you didn't know what to do. Remember Cincinnati that year that they were
last year, or not since? Oh, you're talking about with Luke Fickell as the head coach.
They were so good. They were in the the final football four.
They were as an American team. That was before they switched over to the Big 12.
Hold on. So we're going to bring, we're going to try something here. We're going to bring a friend of the show on here. I haven't done this yet, so we're going to see what's going to happen.
Stage. Okay.
Hold on.
You're in the show.
Here.
Live on YouTube, guys. We're still figuring this out. We're just having a fun time here. Little Wednesday action. We got a friend of the show coming on.
Hey, Richie. How you doing, buddy?
We're still trying to get Richie set up here.
Hey, Richie, you got sound with us? Richie, can't hear you, man.
I don't think we're still having some troubles with Richie over here.
Hey, there we go. Can you hear me now?
Hey, Richie, talk.
Hello. Hey, how's it going?
Not hearing him.
Richie, you there at all?
Yes.
Oh,
okay. We have Richie. We have audio with Richie.
Hey, what's going on, man? We're just trying to working out the kinks in this YouTube live here. Thought I'd try to get you on the show. Right now, we're sitting there talking about Indiana and how we don't know what to do with them mentally. They've got a Heisman contender. They're playing some pretty dang good football, but in my mind, it's still Indiana. It's a basketball school, and I don't know what to do with them.
Well, that's no different than what they're doing with Vandy right now. If Texas had the same record as Vandy or Indiana, they'd be a top 4 team in the country right now.
Yeah.
So everybody's treating them like the little redheaded stepchild who's not really supposed to sit at the big boy table yet. And so they're kind of the oldest child, but there's no room for them at the big table.
Well, that's a simple way to put it.
That's definitely a simple way to put it. I mean, the problem we're having, of course, the whole huge victory over Illinois, and they completely destroyed them. And then Illinois goes on the road.
Oh, I lost.
Hold on.
There we go. We're back up on audio. We're still trying to figure out this platform, how to go live, ladies and gentlemen, and really get the show rolling off here on this fine Wednesday night. Just trying to figure everything out. Anyways, they go on the road to Southern California, and Illinois beats USC. So the whole, how is the Big Ten shaping up? I think the whole Big Ten is in shambles right now because there's a knife splitting it right down the middle because we don't know how to grade these teams. Of course, Michigan, supposedly a top Big Ten team, went into Oklahoma and lost. So how is this just grading out? The Penn State lost to Oregon. We're kind of seeing how it levels out, but there's a whole knife splat in the middle of it.
Yeah, I mean, how good is USC? I mean, do we even have an idea how good they are? How good is Ohio State that, they beat Texas, at the beginning of the season at home, but they didn't blow them out by any stretch of the imagination.
And they're facing a struggling Arch Manning at the beginning of the year too.
Yep.
And yet
we learned from it.
And there's still some talking heads out there that have Texas as winning the SEC championship.
Texas offense has got to come around. Superman's got to start playing Superman type football. And it's almost like he's a second off. And, you guys heard my opinion before on the whole, it's like he's not a real Manning. I don't know. Sometimes he plays like it. And when he gets in those big games, it's like he's just a second off. Second slow is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. He doesn't have the brain that Peyton had, that was able to see the field like from 3,000 feet. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I legitimately would put a substantial amount of a friend of mine's money on the fact that he's hurt.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any way else to look at it.
Yeah. Well,
so let's move on real quick while we have Richie here for a minute and go further on what transpired with Auburn this last week and the whole coaching search situation. Well, lack of coach search with Bruce Pearl essentially retiring. And, of course, I think a lot of people know where Bruce Pearl's future is going to be. We're not going to go further detail on that on this show. But this situation where Stephen Pearl was just kind of handed the keys to Auburn, is this, one, is it nepotism?
No, come on.
Two, is Stephen Pearl the right guy for I'm not saying he's the wrong guy by any means. Okay, there's a trend in college basketball right now where, young coaches, bring them on. They love it, right? Yep. Okay, that's the new trend. These Calipari whole thing with Calipari, Krzyzewski, and, these older coaches are trying to they're almost pushed out of the window, and these younger guys are winning. Nate Oates, Hope, right? We keep going down this list. So is Stephen Pearl the correct guy for the job? And essentially, was there a coaching search? Was this bad how the timing of it happened? And,
if you think, okay, so first of all, I've got to get used to this transition where there's no radio break.
Right?
And all of a sudden we're in college basketball, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but if you sit there and think that Bruce Pearl walked into the athletic director's office in Auburn and said, oh, by the way, my son's the coach now. I'll see you guys later. That did not happen like
no,
that.
But how it happened was hey, I'm retiring.
Yep.
I didn't give you the opportunity to coach search because we're, some odd 60, 80 days away from the season.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So, I have a guy right here for you if you want to take him. Steven's next on the block.
One thing you don't want to do is also lose any recruiting momentum, right?
Yeah.
So you still got a Pearl name attached to that recruiting. If you don't think that Bruce Pearl's still going to be around the program, whether you like him, love him, hate him, like Auburn, dislike Auburn, boo on War Eagle, Bruce Pearl is going to be around that basketball program, no different than Nick Saban's been around the Alabama football program. Okay, his son is going to be the head coach of that program. They've got a dang good team coming back this year. So I don't think there's any loss. I don't think there's any – I can't even say that word you used a few minutes ago, Kels. But, it's
nepotism.
I can't – I don't even want to try it. But
I thought you were saying War Eagle.
Oh, no, he better not in this house. No, but there was definitely some kind of search done. I don't know. If you want to find out, just
what search could be done. Not in someone's away from the season. You're going to get a guy that's sitting on a bench in another program and try to fluctuate him in.
Let's look at this. How does the Richie? Go ahead, man.
I got 2 points. One, they interviewed the same number of people as they had third down conversion as we know with college football, if a coach is fired, quits, retires, whatever you call it,
Yeah.
it opens up the transfer
Portal.
portal. Did Bruce Pearl actually retire, or is he just stepping down to allow his son to coach this season, which did not open the portal for Auburn?
I thought it opened the portal regardless. I thought that's how the rule was stated, because anytime a coach retires or quits or is fired, is bought out, whatever, I thought that portal opened right then and there.
Have you seen any Auburn players leaving?
No.
Have you
That's
seen
my
Mark
question.
Pope or
I don't
Calipari
think-
or Bill Self on the steps?
Having
I think he
issues
actually
with Richie
officially
over here.
retired.
Hey, Richie, we're losing my friend.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
You're back.
Yeah.
There you
How
are.
about that?
There you go.
I don't think he actually retired. I think he's gonna claim some sort of like medical issue or something where he's quote unquote stepping away from the program for the season while his son coaches.
Yeah.
And then he'll officially retire or quit or whatever it is at the end of the season when the portal's open for everybody anyway.
You know, and I hope there's nothing medically going on with Bruce Pearl,
No.
whether you like him or love him or whatever. The only time I really disliked him is when he was the coach of the Volunteers. You know, when he was at Tennessee and he was committing recruiting violations, and but that's the only time I truly disliked him. But I hope that's not the case. I hope there's not a medical thing where he's having to step back, because nobody wishes that on anybody, right?
I absolutely don't wish that on him. I believe it is, though. I don't know if you've kept up with the Clay Travis interview with Paul Feinbaum earlier this week, where he basically announced he's all but leaving ESPN to run for Senate. And he wasn't going to do that because Bruce Pearl was. Well, Pearl has personally called and told him he's not running, which gave Feinbaum the runway to go for it.
Yeah.
And so we this is one of those funny times where politics and sports and everything intersect with one another. And the fact that he's stepping away not to follow what a lot of people thought was a want to go into politics. He's not going to do that, which opened up Paul Feinbaum to do it. The only explanation to do it at this point is some sort of medical issue.
Yeah. Well, let's just hope that's not the case. And, I wish Feinbaum would just stick with sports. That's just my personal
whole other
opinion.
conversation to have here. But hey, look, I hope it's not a medical issue. I really don't. But I just, for one, and I'm not saying Stephen Pearl is going to be bad. I don't think he's going to be bad. I think you're going to stick to the trend of these young coaches. I mean, when he was in finance 12 years ago, where he was a lawyer, I think one of the two. And that's the whole issue with this, is this guy's a young individual. But we've seen this trend the last couple of years. Okay, these analytically guys, okay, Oates and Pope, both very analytical guys. We've seen a lot of success.
Yep.
So,
and let me take this moment to say, if it is something medical, I 100% wish him a speedy recovery of whatever it is, whatever reason it is that he has decided to step away. I hope that whatever it is resolved as quick as possible.
All right. So, Kel, speaking of medical issues, not in this show without talking about Pittman and the whole Arkansas.
All right. So
carousel.
As we move from basketball back to football, and this quick transition goes through, is we're going to have some way to do this, or I've got to get better at it or something, right? Yeah. So Sam Pittman from Arkansas has been fired and relieved of his duties after his big loss against Notre Dame last Saturday. And, of course, Mike Gundy was relieved from his duties.
Come after me. I'm a man. I'm 40.
At Oklahoma State. Yeah, I've been waiting to play that since I think last Saturday. I'd set it up and then we couldn't go over air. So we're looking in this whole direction. Sam Pittman, Bobby Petrino is now the interim head coach at Arkansas. They put out a statement today that he's actually in the running to be the permanent head coach.
So what's the definition of insanity, Kels?
Well,
doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results.
Pop's favorite shirt. We need that on a t-shirt. Maybe we can sell that. I think we can.
Well, I laugh and I put this graphic together.
Yeah.
If you guys remember, He had the, hopefully I've got this right. He had the motorcycle wreck, had the, wasn't in like a student he was messing around with, and she was on the back of the motorcycle as well. And he shows up and he's doing his press conference and he's in a neck brace, and the rest is history. He was eventually left Arkansas, and in Arkansas with Pittman, you thought he was in better hands. But I tell you what, when you play that kind of schedule,
it's been a mixed reaction from how Arkansas fans have dealt with this. I mean, some students hate it, some like it. They've kind of just, it's been a mixed expression of the love for Pittman, and hopefully he's still going to have some old cold beer. I mean, that was Pittman's thing, right? So it's just the issue that I have with this is, man, I never thought we'd be in a world where Petrino would be back at Arkansas as the head coach. And people didn't know he was the OC already, right?
Yeah.
This seems like a EA Sports 26 coaching carousel move, where we're having, Petrino back at Arkansas. We're seeing Dabo back at Bama. We're seeing Kiffin go to USC, Sarkisian going over to Oklahoma or Michigan. So, this is just a weird kind of situation where they passed his meeting with the president. Now we're going to see Petrino at Arkansas. It's just going to be weird to see.
So speaking of switches, is the 2026 football game, whatever, have they switched Petrino back into the game?
That's probably not going to happen. I don't know if unless he's actually on the game as the OC. I don't think it'll happen, especially with the whole ordeal that EA Sports is going through right now with them selling and stuff like that. So I don't know how that's going to go all through.
I have to remember that when we're YouTube Live that I'm on camera.
Yeah. Dad's facial expressions, it's all there.
My faciil expressions and nonverbals about
can't hide it. So I will say this. I will say this about Bobby P. If he doesn't come out on the sideline Saturday on a motorcycle, I'll be disappointed. The fact that the man has already fired 2 other members of the staff, didn't know the interim head coach had that kind of power. That's a new one for me.
That's scary.
Yeah.
I think it is his job if one man says no. And I think if they write the check, that man is not going to say no, and that man is going to leave the Buffaloes of the University of Colorado, and he is going to head to the SEC and bring a little flair with him.
So you want to talk about coaching searches and how this whole ordeal is going to go down. We talk about probably the most possible. Arkansas very much becomes the prettiest job around the country for any head coach, with the Tyson chicken money and the Walmart money, right? So you want to ask that guarantee as soon as you get there.
When was the last time that Arkansas was relevant?
I mean, you had Arkansas go 8-4 under Pittman a couple years ago. It just went down.
My question is relevant in football.
Well, and that's
when they competed for the SEC championship.
But maybe Pittman wasn't the right guy. Maybe he was, good for Arkansas, but maybe Pittman wasn't the right guy.
Is it really that level of high caliber vacancy?
Okay, but
I would argue that Oklahoma State, UCLA,
is Gullish and Summerall going to look at that job higher? Yes. It's NIL. They're going to look for guarantees from Arkansas and say, hey, can you give me this? Can you give me the money for the players?
Guess any SEC school that goes vacant, maybe,
but I don't think I don't think Gullish and Summerall are looking. Gullish and Summerall both for USF and then Tulane over there. I don't think they're looking at Vandy to go vacant. I don't think they're looking for
Kentucky's next.
Mississippi State to go vacant. Kentucky. I don't think they're looking at those schools. They're waiting for the top 15 jobs in the country. Kentucky doesn't have that NIL money directed toward football.
I know all their
money. You got to ask yourself, how many more SEC coaches are given a pink slip before January 1st?
Stoops.
Florida. It's
Florida.
Billy Napier will be fired in the offseason when the buyout goes down.
Absolutely. Florida's coming open. I would argue that there is a better than not possibility that Auburn comes open.
I don't think Hugh Freeze will come open. We've seen some success. We've seen the jump forward for Auburn that we didn't see the last couple of seasons. Okay, I think you still got Hugh. You'll give Hugh another year to see if he can produce the playoff result.
All right. What about, obviously, like you said, Kentucky? And what if one of these schools comes in and offers Lane Kiffin a stupid amount of money? Does he leave Ole Miss for...
I think a couple of years ago, yes, you'll make that argument. He's going to leave for Florida. I think that's what we've heard the last couple of years. We thought he was going to leave for Alabama. He never got offered the job as far as we know. So,
right.
I just don't know if we're going to see Lane go anywhere. I don't think you will unless you want to go, meet up with Weeks over there on the LSU linebacking squad and take over I'm gonna blank on his name now. The head ball coach for LSU over there, Brian Kelly.
Brian Kelly.
Yeah. I mean, unless he's taking over for Daughter's boyfriend over there, I just don't know. I don't think Lane is going anywhere to this point.
Yeah.
Lane's got his roots set at Ole Miss. We used to look at him as a guy that would jump around all over the country, and he's just not that guy anymore. I don't see it coming for Lane. I do think, this Florida job, though, when that comes open, that's the prettiest job in the country to be open. That's a job that people have won there and won a lot there, right? Ask Urban. Dan Mullen could have done it. He just didn't have as much success as Urban there. You can recruit there. They've got the money set up. There are just certain things that Florida is going to be great at. Arkansas is not going to be far behind.
Right.
All right, Kelsey, I'm your stat guy here.
Uh-huh.
All right, you're right at an hour, brother. I said there was no
We
way
are
to
an hour.
get there. Okay.
I said we had the content for it. I said we could do it. I have no issue with it. Although I think we've kind of wrapped up everything.
Hey, so one more shout out for the Kick It for Dana, right?
Of course, yeah,
Say that.
guys.
All
Of
right.
course. So remember, November 1st, I think it's a 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. event. We'll be there from 9 to 11 live with Mojo from 104.3 WZYP. He'll be co-hosting with us together. And, we're just proud to be a part of this event that's going to be happening soon. Kick It for Dana charity kickball tournament. The event is dedicated to supporting Dana as she's going to be bravely fighting stage 4 breast cancer. So mark your calendars, November 1st. You can go check out the link on Facebook. You can go look at the GoFundMe that's connected to that link as well. It's going to be a very fun time, and we're just going to be all supporting and helping out in our local community. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be great, man. I can't wait for it.
So I got to ask you, Rich, are you playing kickball or what?
I will not be playing kickball that day. I will, since that's the bye week, that is actually my Saturday to do something I have to do my 9 to 5 on. So,
all right. So we will be, unfortunately, without Richie on that day. I guess Mojo will be taking.
I'll be there for the first hour, and then I'll saunter off after that and let I guess Mojo's good enough to take my place for the second hour.
All right.
All right,
what
guys.
You want to do? You want to let's end this thing?
I think we're ready, guys. It's been a great show.
You got to do something on a hotkey. Play some.
I can't. They're all copyrighted.
No, you can play some.
I don't want to have to check that.
Oh, you're 100% right.
I don't want to check that box on YouTube and get
you're
demonetized.
Right. I got to remember we're on YouTube live and we're not on the radio right now. So
here you go. I got you one.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs.
Go ahead and end it.
Me?
Thanks for listening, guys. This has been Off the Bench. We're going to be with you at 9 to 11 on Saturday, just like normal. I think we got all the issues worked out over there at the station. Go ahead and get that pick'ems in. Go ahead and vote for the team you want to win or the team you think is going to win on Saturday. Go check out the Facebook page. Give us a follow here on YouTube at Off the Bench on Facebook. And, of course, at Off the Bench CFB Show on YouTube. Go follow it. Get up to date on everything that's happening here. And we're going to see you guys on Saturday for our normal show here on 103.9 FM, Jocks Huntsville, or on iHeartRadio if you can't connect to us there. We'll be on YouTube from 9 to 10 a.m. Thanks for listening, guys.
Love you.